Hey yo, it's Blue baby, and it's Blue Dope. Today I have Erica and Mila from Good Moms Bad Choices. They are podcasters. They have the retreat trips. I heard they got some other things going on that we're going to talk about what's launching. So, firstly, ladies, happy to have you on. How you feeling today?
Hey, I'm good.
Hey, I'm good. Thank you so much for having us.
No doubt. Now, I usually kind of go through people's whole history, but instead of doing that with both of you guys and starting from day one and where you were born and everything, I really want to understand how you got together to even start a podcast together.
Well, our podcast is Good Moms Bad Choices, so it's very telling. We're both mothers, and when Erica and I met, we're both from Los Angeles, from the Valley, and how the story began is that we weren't very close friends. In fact, we were just pregnant women.
Each other on the internet.
Yeah. I think we have a mutual friend, but I found her on Instagram, and she was pregnant around the same time as I was, and I was scared. I didn't have any other friends who really had kids who had been through this, and I noticed her. And I think around the same time, she noticed another pregnant bitch on the internet that we had a mutual friend, and we made some assumptions about each other. You know, she looked like she was doing a great job over there. She looked very happy, looked like her fairy tale was like falling into place. And so I think we made assumptions about each other. And then fast forward not too long after that, we had those children, and it was the beginning of motherhood. And we were just kind of like, I think experiencing the same thing and seeking someone who would understand what we're experiencing. So Erica, my dear friend here, would you like to tell your part of the story?
It might be a little different.
That's right. No, so I started listening to podcasts kind of at the end, like during my pregnancy, like first few months of having a kid. I was home a lot, right? And I was listening to a lot of murder mystery podcasts, and I happened to start listening to look for I started to look for parenting podcasts, but there weren't really any. Had the baby, ended up having a breakup. Me and Jamilah had hung out a few times.
No, she found me. She knew that I was going out, and our friend said, she said, who's this friend that you have? She's like, I'm going out. She's going to be there. You should come. So Erica dropped her baby off to come. Don't skip this part of the story, bitch. She dropped her baby off at 6 months, like 4 months, to come meet me. She was like, cornered me in the bathroom and was like, hey. And I was like, I looked up.
She talked you a little bit.
She was like, don't you have a child? I was like, yeah. She's like, we should get the girls together. And on Monday we got together, and those girls were like 4 months and 5 months. So it was really, there was no play date.
It was our play date.
It was our play date.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the first time we ever hung out, and it was very surface, and it was just because we were kind of seeking someone going through the same thing, but not saying that. Right. And then not too long thereafter, maybe a year or two, things happen as life happens. We broke up with our significant others at the time, and Erica saw me at my daughter's like third birthday, and she was like, hey, we're catching up between cutting cake, and she was like, I'm dating, I'm out here, I'm on Tinder, and I met a couple, and they're like sexy, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know, she was like this spicy, and I took to her. I was like, okay, I think I like her more than I thought. And we were kind of again in the same place in our journey, both newly single moms. And she was like, I've been listening to podcasts, but I can't relate to any. There are no Black ones. There's none that are single moms. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. I didn't really know what that podcast was. It was like radio. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, but are you going to tell the story about your Tinder couple? And are we going to be honest? Like, how are we going to do it? And she said, yeah, I'm going to tell the story. And I said, perfect. And then that's kind of how the concept was born, and after that, we had a photo shoot. And we rolled a joint and pressed record, and that's kind of how it was born.
And it's been a love fest ever since.
A fucking love fest.
So, I mean, obviously the name, I think we could kind of tell where it came from, but in that whole process, was there any part of you that said, oh man, maybe I don't want to be this telling? Or did you feel like you had to go all in for your viewers?
I think we had the unique opportunity to start a business without actually understanding that we were starting a business. I think it was like something we decided to do, and it sounded like an escape. It sounded like we needed something to do, and that's what it was going to be. And I don't think initially when we pushed record that first time and rolled that joint, it's actually supposed to be a test. Our first episode was a test, and we were just like, let's just put it out. Fuck it. Like, we already did it. It was 1 hour long, and no one's listening was our big thing. It's like, who's going to listen? You know, like our friends maybe. And it kind of, we just like put it out into the ether, because podcasts kind of have that, it's very intimate, but until you know people are listening, it kind of just feels like an audio journal.
Right.
And so like that wasn't I don't think we thought about it in like thinking, 4 years later that hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people would hear these very intimate details of our lives. But thankfully we didn't think about it too much, but because it's been so, it's been amazing.
I think we didn't really think anyone was listening. But of course there's been moments where throughout our journey where we've had extreme anxiety.
Really?
Often, yeah.
Like, now that we know people are listening, there's definitely times where we're like, oh my God, did we say too much? Or I forget I say something and someone reminds me I've said something. But ultimately that's been our superpower, I think. And so it's really empowered us to keep going and being really authentic and really brutally honest with ourselves, with each other, with our audience. And I think that's why we've built such a trust in our tribe and our community, because they know we're not perfect. They've seen our journey. They've seen our friendship grow. We've really gotten to become best friends over the podcast. Like, it wasn't like we were besties and then we started a show. So yeah, there's definitely sometimes there's like a little bit of fear, but no, you feel fear, you walk towards it. That's what I think keeps our business kind of growing and going and exciting.
I mean, do you ever feel awkward at school pickup? Do you ever feel like there are eyes on you looking at you differently because of some of the things you discuss? Maybe they might have caught wind or heard.
I mean, I've definitely had parents mention that they found my show. It's not something I usually lead with at parties. But if I feel like it's the right crowd, then I do. Because sometimes some of these mamas need to hear this shit, And I'm not ashamed of what I do. I love what I do. And they should probably listen. Listen, not just to me, but to some of these really insightful guests that we've had. Because I know I've learned so much just through conversation and connection and vulnerability. And I think the platform isn't to be kept a secret. It's really to be shared amongst women, not just moms. So no.
Yeah, I think initially I'm like, kind of like, because our kids are really proud of us. They know the podcast. They tell everyone who will listen. And I had a teacher like DM me, like find me and DM me. And I was like, oh no. But it makes me, they're like, it's my own shit that is like fear. I'm scared of. Like, does everybody need to know that? But I am proud of what I do. And most of these moms probably need to hear it. But yeah, we smoke weed, and my daughter, we're in the Valley, so she's like one of like a sprinkle of Black children at the school. So there is that, But ultimately, I feel really empowered, and it's like, yeah, it's on brand for me. I'm that rich mom who smokes weed and talks about things on the internet, and my daughter's really proud of me, and she'll continue to be. And like, we've made a incredible brands with an S out of this. So I really do feel empowered by it. And so like, if those parents have some shit to say, fuck those parents.
So most people don't necessarily feel like you're ever really ready to be a parent, right? Mm-hmm. And when you become a parent, you think about the choices you have to make for yourself. Right. So do you feel when you went and started that journey, was it at a point in time where you were ready to kind of try to change up your choices? Or were you kind of forced to have to play the good mom role at first?
In the show, or just in parenthood? In
life as parents.
Oh,
yeah. Like, are you ever ready to throw down your ratchetness to take care of someone else? I wasn't. I was like 27 when I had Luna. And in hindsight, that's fucking young. And it's probably, what it happened when it needed to happen, because I wasn't ready. I was doing a lot of hood rat shit with my friends. And, but that's how life works out. You get ready, and I think it happened at the perfect time, but I was definitely not prepared. And as a woman, particularly, of course, motherhood is like, hey, it's served to you, and then you're supposed to show up this certain way. You're supposed to stop doing this. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to, and it's difficult. It's a difficult transition, and there's definitely pressure to know what you're doing and perform, and to suddenly become this perfect mother, and it's not always that easy.
Yeah, I've definitely felt pressure to perform for sure when I became a mother. I never really wanted kids. Decided then somewhere along the line, I started feeling like I was open to exploring it. I had obviously got pregnant, said, okay, like we're doing this. And then was fearful, like immediately fearful. Everything was scary to me. Eating the wrong thing during my pregnancy. Like I was just super paranoid and just wanting to follow everything by the book. And then giving birth and like having this new baby and feeling like I didn't know I had no idea what I was doing, but like I was supposed to know. And also like in conflict with who I was and this new person, and feeling like I wasn't allowed to kind of do the things that I used to do anymore. And I for a long time, and I think that's really why I needed Jamilah. I felt misunderstood. I didn't really recognize myself. And when I saw her, I saw myself a little bit, my former self. And I was like, oh my God, like she's a mom and she's still like going to the pool party. She's bringing the kid, like shit, I can do that. Oh yeah. Duh. What the fuck? And so I think that, I fed myself a false narrative that, society kind of puts on us. And also like you get pressure from your, the people around you, family members, just, like they put a lot of fear in you. Like you have a kid now, you have to be responsible. Don't do that. Oh my God, you smoke weed. Like you're still doing that, and it's like immediately after giving birth, you're supposed to transform into this like Betty Crocker or something. And that's just not realistic. So
now, I mean, fast forward to just having a co-parent. What have been your experiences now with co-parenting, and how does that play a role into your daily life?
Co-parenting is a journey, depending on maybe for everybody. For me, it's been a journey. It's been good. It's been difficult. It's been good. It's been difficult. It's been transactional. It's been fine, but ultimately, if my daughter's happy, that's like the main thing. That's the most important thing, I think, in co-parenting, and like really, putting your feelings about whoever aside and just making sure that like we're raising a well-adjusted, smart, intelligent, kind child. And that's for me the goal. I definitely, I didn't ever imagine being a single parent. I think that was one of my fears, actually, and the reasons why I didn't want to be a parent, because I was raised by one and I saw how challenging it was. And although she rose to the occasion every single time, like I knew how hard it was for her at times, and there was no fairy tale about it. And it didn't seem the idea of that being an option was like, oh, I don't want to do this then. So then being a single parent, there's resentment, there's anger, there's all these things that I think a lot of people have to work through with that other partner that takes time. And sometimes you never work through it, and you have to do what you got to do. But ultimately, co-parenting for me is just a continued journey that I'm excited about either way. Like, I think that's the beauty of it. Like, you kind of like, you don't really know what's going to happen. But really, ultimately, what matters is as long as my daughter is happy, that's my main focus.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's a journey, it's, I think for women particularly, it's like the last thing on the list to be like, I'm going to get pregnant and to be single. Like that is like every Black woman's worst nightmare, is to be like a single Black mom, for me. And I know for Erica, that was a big thing. Like I'm a stereotype, and, even just through this, the creation of our brand. I've become empowered in it, and it's been difficult. And I don't know if there'll ever be a time where it's completely, there's not a sting sometimes, you know, like your kids are reminded, like all the images we see of married families, both 2-parent homes. I mean, now you see more like examples, but you know, there's an attachment to the fairy tale. So obviously like that's difficult, and it's always going to be difficult, but it gets easier with time. I think, yeah, like Erica said, it's been transactional. It's been bare minimum. It's been like a little hee hee ha ha, but you know, ultimately I'm happy. And so my child is happy. And, that is the most important. And I always say, like, honestly, God really did me a grand favor in some ways, because I really enjoy dropping off my child. And, you know, me and Erica are going to Coachella this weekend.
Oh, nice.
So like there's space and opportunity to have time to be alone and to do the things that when I pick her up, I can be fulfilled. I've done the things, I have had time to work, and I don't have to, you know, spread myself so thin. And so I'm grateful for that time. And, so sometimes it is great. It's a great
blessing in disguise.
It's been a blessing, honestly.
I mean, do your daughter's fathers ever try to butt in and say, "Why'd you say that about on the show?" Or do they ever even interject that way? Or have there been instances?
No, they act like they don't listen.
They probably do.
Of course they've listened. It would be impossible to not. Luckily at this point, there's a huge catalog, so I hope you got time. But no, I mean, I think they have too much ego and pride to be like, I listened and I don't like that shit. Actually, when my baby daddy said something like one time, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I've heard a few random comments. I'm like, so I don't recall telling you that, but I do recall telling everybody else.
Now, I mean, when it comes to the podcasting game, a lot of people kind of enter the space and they don't necessarily stay. So, I mean, what was the point for you, both of you, where you realized, no, we're in this for the long haul, and this is actually worth our time?
I think for me, it was pretty early on. It was like maybe like third episode in. I mean, kind of in the beginning, I felt good. In general, like it just felt like that was fun, you know, and like, wow, I got to connect with someone. Like it was kind of like I really wanted Jamilah to be my friend, and she was just down to come to my house and record like every week. But I think what was really a turning point that happened quickly was certain people started reaching out to us, and people were listening, but it was still like, you know, very small amounts, but saying like, hey, like I listened to this episode and me too. And, or like, oh my God, I thought I was alone. And I was like, oh shit. And I think our tribe is what really has pushed us to keep going, because there have been times where I've wanted to quit. There have been times where, you know, I felt insecure about oversharing too much or not making money. Like, how long can we keep doing this? Like, and not making any money. But I was like, I'm not doing it for the money though, but like, it would be nice. But ultimately I think knowing that me sharing something, even something small, was making someone's day or making someone feel less alone or making me feel less alone. Because that's really why I really wanted to have a podcast, was to hang out with Jamilah and not feel less alone. And then I was like, oh, I have another friend that feels this way on the internet. Oh, and like just sharing with like intimate stories, even in just messages early on, we were calling people, we're talking to people and stuff. We still do, you know, like, and so I think that that's really what for me made me know, like, we got to keep going every single week.
Now, were you guys both doing something different at first? Like, did you have like a day job and doing this on the weekends, and then you kind of said, this is the point where I could go all in? Or what does that look like for you now?
I still have a day job. I have another job. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say podcasting is my side hustle at this point. I have 2 pretty much full-time jobs. I actually say podcasting is actually more of a full-time job than my other job at this point right now. And like, thankfully I have the luxury of that. I'm able to kind of like balance, like I have the support to kind of like allow me to focus on this business, which I'm really, really grateful for. But yeah.
I'm a licensed esthetician, and I've kind of always, I realized kind of early that I didn't want to be told what to do or like clock in anywhere. So I have a mobile esthetician business that I'm going to do my friend's lashes this week, but like I am not actively working in it. No. Our podcast takes up a lot of time and energy. And luckily we've grown in a way that we have a team, and we just have a lot of, an opportunity to make it our bread and butter, because we know like it's our baby, so being able to entrepreneur the way that I'd like, it feels good.
Oh, I mean, one of the things you mentioned was just even calling just kind of listeners of the show, et cetera. I mean, it sounds like you've turned that into something much bigger now with retreats. So I want to understand that and how you were able to add that on to almost the business side of it and just the experience.
One of the things about Erica and I is that our union is like anointed in ways. It's divine. And I think neither one of us understood that initially, but it did feel really good. And it's been heavily manifested. Our success has been heavily manifested. And early on, we realized like, oh shit, like there's some magic that exists between our thoughts and our words. And they were coming up rather quickly, easily. And just by talking them through, doing the work, it was just like, bow, like in an almost mystical and eerie way, like, damn, did we just ask for this? And our entire journey has kind of been that way. And I think, yeah, Erica said initially, just like those first couple DMs, like, oh, damn, you smoke weed too? Or like, oh, you had an abortion too? Like there is these things where you immediately felt close to people all over the world, like someone reaching out from Australia, from New Zealand, from South Africa. And you're like, oh, damn, I have this power and this opportunity to really reach people by being honest and just telling stories. And I think when we realized that, even in the beginning, we were like, meet us at El Torito on Sunday. We're going to brunch, bring the babies, and like, that was like maybe a couple months in, and like 20 people showed up. And like, of those people, like half of those friends, they're our friends. We went to their weddings, like we're there while they're having, third babies and going through divorces. Like we really built a community, because like that was when we started this, we realized like, oh, we were building a community. It wasn't building a business. And so every single thing that we're doing, every like foot, like hand, pot we have our hand in, has been really highly like manifested just through us speaking and believing. And like the retreat is, manifestation of our community. It's very spiritual. It's very healing. And people from all over the country are like coming to travel to, Costa Rica, the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. It's not an easy journey to get to. So it's definitely some magical shit happening. And I think we both realize that it's bigger than us, and like the message that we're spreading is really important. And we thought it was silly and simple, like two moms talking shit about, various things like sex and dating, but also about like healing in that process is like women and moms really need to hear that. Like, you can have fun and live your life and heal and be this and be that and be married and, and still show up as yourself. So I think, definitely the retreat has been a manifestation of that. We're publishing a book next year with HarperCollins, like that's a manifestation of that. Like every single thing that's been created under this umbrella is like some magical shit.
I did want to hear more about the book too. I mean, you brought it up. I was definitely going to go there. What is the book going to be about, and how do you approach writing it together? Are you kind of like Styles P and Jadakiss, just going bar for bar, like let's pass it back to each other? How does it work?
I guess so. I never thought about it that way, but yeah, we're like Styles P and Jadakiss.
Always wanted to add that to my resume.
I'm Jada.
Oh, there you go. Uh-oh.
I don't really know. I don't know if I concur, but yeah, we're co-authors. And recently our beta writer just said it's like a side A and a side B of a track, like of a cassette tape. There's something like nostalgic about it, but it is very much equal parts us. And the book is a good mom's guide to making bad choices.
Yeah, and it's kind of just our journey, a lot of our journey that we've touched on through the podcast, but just in more detail and kind of, the tools and the lessons that we've learned that other women can, apply to their own experience, apply to their own lives, in a more, I guess, prescriptive way, in a more practical way. And there'll be contributions from other people, former guests. So I'm really excited for everyone to read it. It's definitely, there's nothing like it, much like our show. So it's definitely a unique, semi-memoirish book.
I mean, how hard is it for you with as many episodes as you have to kind of touch on topics or just go deeper into a topic for this book when you've shared so much over the years?
You know what? You'd be surprised. I writing this book, I'm like, damn, this is requiring a lot of energy. Like, damn, should I say this? Should I not say this? It's always deeper to get. There's always more to tell. Like,
it feels more final in print for some reason.
It does. It does. You know what? Like when we're talking, we're like, blah, 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 blah. Send it out. Who's editing it? Nobody. And then in a book, it's like you could see it and then you're sending it to someone and then they're copying and printing it. And you're like, oh
no. I recently interviewed Candice Brathwaite, who oddly enough in 2020 had the first book published in all of UK by a Black woman about parenting, right? How difficult or what was the process for you here, just working with publishers and kind of choosing that process, just having someone that would support the idea?
You know what? Again, the alignment and the real protection and support of I like to call it me and Jamilah's relationship an entity. It wasn't hard.
Nice.
I wish I could say it was like this thing that actually I don't wish I could say, because it wasn't this thing that we had to, it kind of found us, honestly. And it found us not when where we're at now, which is, we're much larger podcast now. It actually found us when we were much smaller, through a relationship that we had, through a brand. And from actually one of the brands, it's called House of Intuition, which funny enough is a mystical shop with crystals, and they sell rituals. And the social media manager was talking to her husband about us. And he is a book agent, a really big one. And he was like, I want to meet these girls. Can I talk to them? So we had a meeting.
He sent us one email. I don't even think we talked to him on the phone.
Well, he sent us one email and he said, I want them to talk to my team.
Okay.
And so we talked to his team and they basically said, if you were going to write a book, what would it be about?
What would it look like?
Yeah. So we told them. They loved it. And kind of from there, we just worked with them. And me and Mila really we had really no idea.
We didn't really know. Yeah.
We didn't know him really at all on how prominent he is. And how powerful he is in ways, and the connections that he has through his agency, even his roster. I don't even look at for many, many, many months, even after signing with them. It's very it's very irresponsible, actually.
Yeah, all the trust right there. Let's do this.
But shout out to Europa Content. So we wrote this proposal. It took us
It took us really long to write this proposal. The proposal, keep in mind, is maybe 25 pages, and we were just taking our time. We were just like, you're going to get to it. It was mostly during 2020, and they're like, okay, and they and we didn't. We're like, what does a book proposal look like? They sent us a couple examples, and then we just took our sweet time, and finally, when it was done, they were like, are you ready to talk to publishers? And we're like, okay, whatever. So we start seeing like meetings pile up. I'm like, you see these meetings on our calendar? She's like, yeah. It's like crazy, right? She's like, yeah. Still didn't Google not one person. I was like, this looks familiar. This publisher looks kind of familiar. Still no Googling, just showed up to the Zoom. And after like the first 2 Zooms, like we hung up and I was like, Erica, it's so strange. It feels like they're selling to us. Like they're trying to recruit us. And she's like, I know, right? So we asked the girls like, so what happens after we have these like 7 meetings? She's like, well, then you choose. I'm like, well, how are we going to know how to choose? I'm like, whoever offers us the most money. And I was like, huh. And then I was like, well, how much money? And then she told us, and we're like, oh, okay. We have the Zoom like, bitch, why didn't they tell us this from the beginning?
That proposal would have went a little quicker.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing. Like we had no idea what we were doing. We're just like, blah, 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 blah. And then
I think that was like such a gift because we really didn't feel pressure. You know, I mean, there was a pressure towards the end where they were like, hello, what's going on? Now I understand why. But we really didn't feel pressure. We like, and again, just kind of like the podcast too, not feeling pressure to be something or someone or follow some sort of like prototype of a successful podcast. Like we had no prototype. We just kind of like did it. So, I think that just like Mila said, a lot of the opportunities that we've had are very divine. And I think it's because we are doing the work that we're supposed to be doing.
I mean, what's beautiful about that sounds like, when an artist, when they're singing and going to the studio for that first album, it's really organic, it's natural. And then at the end, the label might say, all right, it's time for...
Don't jinx me, because you always know the second album is the most stressful shit. Every artist is trying to recreate the first one. I'm like, hold on.
No, there's some greats who keep making more shit. We're the greats.
I know there's a many, but like the pressure of like the second book or like the second.
I'm a big Hope fan. His second album flopped at the time, kind of but in retrospect, he came out with Volume 2 as the third one, right, and blew the roof off everything. So. We hope you never have a sophomore jinx, but
I think there's like a level of naiveness that, and for lack of a better word, I say naiveness that like me and Mila carry within our business that I think is like our gift, like we kind of like not overthinking much of anything. Yeah. Most of the times, not to say we're not intentional, of course we are, but I think I'm always working from a place of like the beginning, and not allowing like even some of our successes. I'm just like, okay, cool. What's next? Like not getting too comfortable.
Now, I mean, I think you are in a niche space and very targeted, but do you see yourself potting about something else in the future, having a different podcast, having a different book in the series where you're touching different subjects? Is that your kind of goal next, even with the book?
I don't know.
I think we have the like unique, because this is a space that's just, it's been all encompassing. Like a lot can fall under this umbrella. We're talking about a lot of things all the time. Right now, like, I guess this is our baby. So like, hell no, I'm not starting another podcast to talk some more shit. I'm talking a lot already.
Yeah, there's a lot of talking already.
A lot of talking. I'm going to be in silence. I'm going to meditate. Yes. I mean, I think eventually, it's going to, we know that it's going to branch off into a lot of things, and I think that's the exciting part about our business is like, you guys, this is just the beginning, we're like, I was thinking that today in the car, like, damn, this is crazy. This is just the beginning because there are so many avenues. There is so much to do. And like, we're activated and we know we can do it. You create something and then you can create something else and you can continue to create. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our entity. Like that we have, we're octopus. We could go in so many directions separately, together. It's endless. It's boundless.
Now, I'm assuming there's a book tour on the way. Are you doing book tours, live podcasts coming up with this?
For sure. Yeah. When the book comes out, absolutely. We're going to do everything we can to promote it. And I'm always excited to kind of connect with people in real life and in person, and meet the women that, are hitting us up, the women that are we're hitting up. So definitely a book tour, definitely live shows. We've done live shows in the past, but that's something that we have brewing right now too, is going on a tour. It's been a minute. And I think like ultimately me and Mila are kind of like wanderlusts. We love to kind of bounce around and have different experiences together, separately. And I think that thankfully this show and this community and all the projects that we have going on are going to allow that to happen. So I'm really excited about that.
Now, I know definitely the women are all here for you, right? But I want to understand just the men in your demographic. And do the men come out and show out to the shows? What is your following like when it comes to men?
I mean, there's way more women than there are men. I think people sometimes are confused by the name too, because we're good moms, bad choices. Like, it's not just for moms, it's for women, it's for men, it's for anybody, like who's into it. I think we get really deep. And so sometimes men are like, I'm out of here. But we we do have men in our audience. And, we were at a podcast conference like not too long ago. And this guy was like, I just wanted to come say hi. He was like, I listened to your podcast. I sent it to my sister. She's a Bible thumper. I don't know if she's going to love it, but I sent it anyway. So like I appreciate the men who come and get their dose, and when the ones that do and come and contact us are always like, I appreciate hearing a woman's perspective, because we are very honest.
Now, I think sometimes it might be a misconception. People think that women can't necessarily stay BFFs and friends forever. But I mean, how do you just manage being business partners and being friends and that whole dynamic?
Communication, honesty, prayer, or whatever you want to call it. I think those are the three things there's probably more things, but space, boundaries, respect.
There are no boundaries.
I wanted to ask about the space.
There's very little space. There's very little boundaries.
Yeah, but when we need space, we take it.
No, we do. And we could be like,
we're at our limit. We're at our friend limit, and we need to move it. But I think that's the misconception about women that I'm really like, I want to dead. I mean, yes, it's true that women, I guess, historically have been put against each other. But I think that things are changing, things are shifting. And at this point in the world, if you're a woman that, thinks it's cool or prides yourself on not having female friends, you really need to check that shit, because we need each other. We do. And not everyone's going to hurt you, boo. And you just sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and ask yourself what you're attracting, why you're attracting it. And ask for help and say hi and smile at the grocery store. Go stalk a bitch in the bathroom at the club and drop your baby off. It really is that desperate, like, for women to have female friends. I feel like it really is super important.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
I mean, to talk about these different things, do you ever have to deal with colorism in your business partnership and just interacting with others? Do those things ever come up?
I think colorism, like someone treating Erica better because she's like,
I was like, because I'm light-skinned.
Exactly. No, I'm being real right here.
I don't think that we would notice. I think we were like, I don't know. I don't think that's a thing.
Have we experienced racism? Yes. We just experienced it 2 days ago when we tried to rent an office space.
I was listening to you talk about that. So it
happened again. It happened again. It's been really difficult for us to find a space for our show.
Wow.
And I don't usually always want to make it a racial thing, but I feel like that way anyways. And and obviously being a woman, being paid equally, a woman and being Black woman, being paid equally to our even male Black counterparts in the space.
And being women and smoking weed, talking about sex, that cursing, those are not ideal combinations of what people, or that it's digestible for people.
Wow.
So there are challenges, but I don't know. I don't think it's like
I mean, it's crazy because are they monitoring everyone else that moves into these spaces to be creative?
No,
Probably not. They see two cute ass Black women with a ready and able bank account, and they're like, "Who the fuck are they? And what do they think they're doing? Who are they? Let me do some research. Hold on 1 second. Oh, yeah, no,
maybe not here. So it's not a good fit.
But we gonna get in, Karen. Okay, Kelly. Okay,
Kelly. It was Kelly.
It was Kelly.
What was the other nigga's name? Whatever the other nigga's name is too.
You might have to build your own space.
That's what it's feeling like.
Yeah, I think it's probably what's going to happen.
Build your own shit, but yeah.
Y'all very like independent artists out here in a sense in that regard.
I know. Shit. Jada and Styles P definitely had a record deal.
I'm down to be independent.
Now, I mean, you guys are in a state where weed is very legal and out there, right? So I just want to know, even from a business standpoint, is that something that, because you speak about it, you talk about it, is it part of the business for you too? At this point, are you thinking about any product lines or anything, or just jumping into the cannabis industry more?
Yeah, we have a cannabis line that's going to be released this year, actually. It's called Mama's Flowers. Our partner is Problem. He's a LA-based cannabis aficionado, businessman, rapper. We've partnered with him to bring our first line, which will be pre-rolls and really catered not just towards women, not just towards mothers, although it is called Mama's Flowers, but towards women, and just like kind of just combating the shame of smoking weed, making it sexy, making it intentional, making it kind of a ritual, because that's really kind of what weed is for us. Weed has helped me in so many ways. It's made me a better parent. It's made me a better person, patient. It's helped me during times of like extreme pain and anxiety. It's been part of a celebration. It's all the things. And I think obviously me and Mila grew up in LA. So the stigma is it's a lot. It's not as harsh as in other places and other areas. But ultimately with the brand, my goal and our goal is to kind of release that stigma of that and make it what it is, which is a flower, a beautiful, magical flower.
That's what's up. Now, is that going to be nationwide? We're legal. We're available. I mean,
it's going to be in California first. We're launching in our home state first, and then the expansion is on the way.
Okay. Now, I want to bring up therapy and just mental health. I know you two definitely support that. Is therapy a big part of your just daily life, and do you come up in each other's therapy sessions too?
Well, we have the same therapist, and of course that we come up in each other's therapy sessions because we do a lot of shit together, but not in like a shit talking way. It's just like, I'm so happy. I love Erica so much. But I think podcasting has really been our therapy. I think one of the reasons that made us continue to podcast is because it felt good in our spirits. I think we underestimate how much just talking out loud can really be healing, can really be work through some shit, can really shed light on some shit. You may think but you start talking to someone in a safe place and just getting it off your chest, and it is very therapeutic. And we've been doing it for 4 years, showing up honestly, like taking our mask off and getting behind the mic and sharing with our audience and our community, but also, when the mic isn't on, Erica and I share and cry and our most vulnerable moments, and there's growth with that. So like, I definitely advocate for just talking period to people that you feel like you could show up as yourself with, like not only just finding your tribe, but also a tribe that is really non-judgmental and really embraces you is also therapeutic, like building those type of relationships, because it allows you to show up as yourself. And I think showing up as yourself is even therapeutic.
And I mean, outside of, therapy, what else is big for you right now in regards to self-care? Or we might've mentioned everything already. I don't know.
Massages, travel. We both really, really enjoy travel and exploring new places. Festivals. Erica and I are on our way to Coachella this weekend. So like just being free and being childlike, it has been consistently a huge part of my healing and my mental health, you know, doing cartwheels, going skinny dipping, you know, listening to good music, being barefoot, like laughing hard, being around people that I love. Those are things that like are for my mental health.
Who are each of you looking forward to seeing at Coachella? It's like, I don't know. Whoever's
Oh
there.
wait, Doja Cat. You know what? I'll be honest. I haven't looked at the lineup because we're just.
I love Doja Cat.
I love Doja Cat. I just found out she was going to be there today, but I'm just excited to go hang out with my friends in the desert. We've gone before, so like one of our most popular episodes is Momchella. Every year we'll go and then we'll come back and tell the people, and we haven't gone in a long time since COVID. So I'm excited.
I'm excited to see Masego. I have never seen him live. And Snow Legra.
Oh, Snow's going to be there. I'm excited too.
And Black Coffee's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking at the list right now because I haven't looked.
Oh, okay. I was like, am I the only one?
Like, who should we have? Yeah, Flying Lotus. There's a lot of people. Look,
I mean, would Kanye pull out? He was supposed to be in it.
He pulled out.
I've seen Kanye. I love Kanye, but you know, it's cool. I'm not a huge Weeknd fan, but I just really love to just go listen to music, discover new artists, chill out, be irresponsible, make bad choices, and then come back and be a good ass mom and woman. So that's kind of the vibe of Coachella for us every year.
Now, I mean, just legacy and just building things for your daughters. What are the key things for both of you that you're leaving your daughters with at this point? And what are some of the key just things that you want them to know that they need to move forward with?
Trusting themselves, trusting their intuition. Just giving them tools that I didn't have as a child for whatever it is, coping, for, just being able to live in their truth and feel empowered by that. I'm hoping that I can leave them a financial legacy as well. Generational wealth is really important to me. And just the knowing that anything is possible, hopefully that our kids have seen us do this from the very, very beginning. They are a huge part of our success, and hopefully knowing that they can also do anything they want, and seeing how hard we've worked and knowing that hard work it's a real thing. You can manifest all day long, but there has to be work, attached to it. I would say those things for me.
Same, exact same. Just the gift of knowing who you are and trusting yourself in that, and understanding that like you can create anything you want to create. Like the world is yours, really, truly, literally. That's been, I think that's what I want to leave behind to my child, in addition to, tangible wealth and property and just the freedom to explore and not worry and not, function from like a scarcity mindset.
No doubt. Now, I mean, Erica, I did want to ask you too. I know your mother definitely has a very successful business. Is it something where you see yourself in the future taking charge on that, or how does that kind of work into things for you right now?
It's something that's always been kind of talked about, part of my plan. My mom is my mentor. So, and my family business is very important to me in general. Just passing on my mother's legacy is really important to me. But it's to be seen. It's to be seen. I don't know the future of this business, but it brings me a lot of joy to be able to work with her, create with her, and cheerlead her in this space. So we shall see.
Now, one of the last things I wanted to just speak on and touch on is just relationships right now. Like, are you in the dating phase right now, either of you? And what does that look like for you right now?
I am dating. Yeah, I'm dating. I'm not in any sort of serious relationship. I'm really been focused so much on growing my business that date, like love and those things have kind of, although like they're kind of, women, we be thinking about boys and things and stuff like that. So it's kind of always there. But at this point in my life, and I'm not the same woman I was last year, and so I think that whatever's meant for me will be there. But until it shows up, I'm here. I'm single.
I have a lover, but I mean it's non-monogamous, so I have freedom, but I also don't have a lot of time. I have very little time. It's like I'm a mom. I have to wash clothes, Jesus, do dishes, and then starting multiple businesses. We're birthing a lot of businesses right now, and it takes up a lot of time and energy. So
no jealousy on your side. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm combating jealousy every day. I'm crazy. I am. And I'm like, God, I'm actually crazy. But I also don't like to be told what to do. And I'm also learning my boundaries and what I'm comfortable with and the style of relationship that I want. And I think it's pretty cool that I understand that I can design it, and that I have a partner that's open to having open communication and talking about jealousy and not letting it lead, or being enraged, or knowing that someone's going to leave me because, I talk about this, or because I said I'm jealous about that, or, I did this thing last week or whatever. Like it feels very safe. And that's definitely what I need right now in my life, is someone to like really hold space for me and allow me to show up the way how I am and who I am, and love me for all of that.
That's dope. Dope. We spoke about a lot of the different businesses. Is there anything else that you've been holding back from the people that you're about to release, or did we cover all of them?
I don't think so. I mean, one part of our business that, has been kind of like a unexpected generator, I guess, is our online merch shop.
Okay.
Me and Jamilah are also designers, apparently.
Nice.
We've kind of always we've like over the years, like we've always kind of had merch, but I think in 2022 we really stepped it up. We have drops almost bi-monthly.
Wow.
And so I don't know, I'm really proud of the stuff that we make there, because we aren't really technically designers. And the shit is cute. So it's working, and it's very aligned with our brand. And I'm kind of excited to see how that kind of like that part of our business, which we put attention into it, but I'm just kind of interested to see, I don't know, in the next year or two, or whatever, maybe 3, how that kind of side of our business grows.
Okay. Yeah, we have candles, we have jewelry, we have kids jewelry, we have shirts and pins and all types of stuff. Yeah, so it is fun to see how that grows. It is like a part of our business. It was just like, I think we're supposed to do this. Like I see people have t-shirts, but like let's make our stuff cute, and kind of like
stuff
just going
people actually wear.
Yeah. I think also the coolest thing about our business is, like, I always tell people it's like playing Tetris, like, does this work? Nah, let's turn it this way. Like, this works. Like, move this way. Okay, this works. Oh, that worked. How we do that again? Like, you kind of slowly see how and where you generate money. I think podcasting was just a seed, and then we kind of like just played with it, and for a long time we did make money, and we like put a little bit of money here. Like, let's make 1 t-shirt, let's make 3. And then, just flipping it, reversing it. And it's like, it's fun.
For the new Milahs and Ericas out there, what are some words of advice that you give them?
Don't overthink it. Just do. Just show up and start, and don't worry about if it's perfect. But also, it's whatever you're doing is a representation of you. So make sure it's you put care into it, and it's authentic and it's true to you. And don't try to be. You don't have to be Erica and Jamilah. It's like, that's the whole thing. Like, you make your own lane. We have literally created a bunch of shit out of like thin air, literally audio waves out into the world. And, you know, I think sometimes people overthink it, think it has to be perfect. In the age of social media, there's a lot of comparison. And social media is always going to make people look perfect. People are always going to put their best versions out there, but like nobody started there. Like we didn't start here. So it's just like, but we did have the advantage of not overthinking it and just being consistent and letting it get better and better. And, you know, just consistency and authenticity, I think.
I would say the same. Definitely don't overthink it. And if it feels uncomfortable and exciting, then you're probably on the right path.
There you go. But no, definitely looking forward to the book release, right? And that tour that'll probably be on the way. I missed you when you were in New York. I know you were doing a lot of tapings in New York, but I'm glad I got to catch up with you today.
Same. We're always in New York, so we got to hit you up and hang out.
That's it.
Tell your wife we said hi.
No, I will, because she was just like, you got to interview them. So
that's so dope. Tell her to come to the retreat.
All right. No doubt. Costa Rica.
Yeah, send her. Actually send her.
She deserves it.
No doubt. But no, it's been dope. It's Blue dope. Peace.
Thank you.